What's going on, YouTube? This is your captain speaking, Captain Calhoun. What is going on? I know this is not our normally scheduled time, but I wasn't on this morning's stream, so I figured I'd give us a little lunchtime meal to digest. We've been talking about boundaries a lot lately. We've been talking about a couple other things that are going to feed directly into codependency. So maybe wait a sec for people to show up, and we'll jump right into it. How is everybody today? Kathy Ann, good to see you. Roberta? Yeah, I notice when I miss the morning show, I feel unproductive until I do something for the boat. So I felt it was important that I come on here and do a little codependency chat. Mara, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, this is going to be a really fun subject. I have dealt with this a lot myself. In fact, I think that most people on planet Earth have probably dealt with codependency at some point in their life, whether it's with themselves or significant other, family member, just a friend. It's quite a common occurrence, quite a common thing that happens. So, Plant Freak, what's going on? Good to see you, Miss Sunrise Dawn. I Live for Now, Millie the Dandelion, Dirty Mouse, Jason P, Layla Bradley, Danielle McCoy. What's going on, y'all? Cindy Plumley. Always a pleasure. Going to be just listening mostly. Well, that's just fine with me. K-Fic, what's going on? Plant Freak says, I sign a lease next Wednesday. No car. That was a lemon, but a place. Wow. Good for you. This has been a long time coming. I'm super stoked. I can't wait to hear more about it. If I was closer to you, I would offer my services helping you move. That's always it's always difficult. Moving always sucks. So it's good to have a hand. I wish I could be of service in that regard. But that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Charlie Mullins, the first subscriber, everybody. Let's go. Shelly Kelly, afternoon boat is right. We're getting it in, afternoon style. Lori Hart, hello. Tomorrow I have a CT scan to see if I have to have wrist surgery. Wish me luck. I will wish you luck. Let's get some ones up for Lori Hart and anyone else out there that isn't speaking up that could use some thoughts and prayers or just some good vibes. I will be there in spirit. Believe that. My 3 o'clock no showed, says Krista Melinda, so I get to listen in for a bit. Sweet deal. Well, I'll try to get to some content here before you have to go do your job. Ooh, that's not the button I wanted at all. That's okay. Scooby Lee, yo. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. Codependency, right? Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a big difference for us. And honestly, for y'all too, I would imagine, indirectly. Codependency. All right, so this is the concept of being addicted to a person or a relationship. To put it generally, to put it in layman's terms, right? It's a very complex issue. It's not something that we're going to be able to cover fully in just one episode, all right? But in a nutshell, being addicted to a person or a relationship, right? This can impact all areas of your life. And the idea is to become more self-reliant on yourself, right? And that's going to have a domino effect. There's obviously a lot more to it than that, but we're going to focus on this for the purposes of this video. So a lot of codependency is often due to childhood trauma or having my reality denied growing up, right? Being gaslit, et cetera, basically being taught and learning how to distrust my own perceptions, right? What I see, hear, taste, touch, what I feel, my emotions, being taught to distrust that, which is terrible. That's how I learn. That's how I interact with the world, my senses, right? My perceptions. When we learn to not trust ourselves, tend to seek that trust and that security in others, which can be a great cause for codependency. And I will say codependency isn't the worst thing in the world, right? But I mean, I think that I can confidently speak for everybody that it would be a little bit better to be able to rely on yourself and not have to get that from others, right? Just without going into that too much. I mean, that's just there's good and there's better, there's bad and there's not bad. So anyways, so we're going to attempt to unlearn dysfunctional behaviors that we may have picked up along the way. Robin Miners, I see you. Hello, hello. Jane Aldrich, Susan P. Hill hath no fury. That is one of my favorite handles of all time, I have to say. I love it. Good to see you, Jane. Absolutely. So the way we're going to unlearn dysfunctional behaviors in the context of codependency, we're going to learn how to create mutually healthy relationships. And the way we're going to go about doing this is people, places, and things. We talk about this a lot. That's what we need to change to let go of our addictions, right? To move through them, to live a better life. We need to assess our people, places, and things, change our people, places, and things. Assess relationships is what I was trying to say. So what's working, what isn't? Which relationships do you have that are worth saving? And this becomes more complicated when we're talking about family members. But I mean, the same thing goes. Even if they're my blood family, if they're not treating me properly, if we have a narcissistic relationship, or just if we have a relationship that's non-mutually healthy, it's not okay. And I don't have to submit myself to that or be a part of that just because they're blood. And that's what I'll say about family for now. But again, what's working? What's not working? Layla Bradley says, the second my ex realized I needed him, he would use staying and leaving the house as a weapon because he knew how it would manipulate me. Yes, this is not good. I'm glad that we're talking about an ex here. It sounds like you got that all handled up, huh, Layla? That's good. That's good. That's good. What's working, what isn't? Is this relationship worth keeping? It's not so easy to just leave a relationship, whether it's healthy or not. Especially, for example, when I was with Lucy, it was very difficult to leave. And it was apparent for a very long time that this was not a productive, healthy relationship. But it was very difficult to leave. We had shared bank accounts. We lived together. We had lived together for like 2 years, and we had shared lives for a large amount of time. Our lives had kind of become one. I would definitely say there was some codependence going on. Definitely on my part for sure. Maybe on hers as well. Who knows? I'm not assessing her today. Talking about your toxic mother, says Robin Miners. I'm sorry to hear that. I am sorry to hear that. I tell you what. But yeah, it was difficult. It's not so easy to just leave, nor is it always necessary to leave. Again, this is why we're going to assess what's working, what's not, which relationships are worth keeping. It may come about, let's say, for example, you're in a toxic relationship with a narcissist or an alcoholic addict, maybe an abuser even, someone that's hit you. It might be easier, better. You might need to practice self-care and detachment or independence until you're ready to leave. It might not be immediately necessary or immediately possible to just up and leave, right? Especially if we're talking about marriage, a relationship that's been going on for a long time. You can't just, you know what I mean? So you might need to warm up to it, work on it, practice it. And again, forging a relationship with yourself is going to be the biggest factor in overcoming codependency. Is all codependency negative? I don't think so. But if you break down what codependency is, it's relying on someone else, getting, I wonder how to say that. Let's see. Let's go back to these notes. I don't think that all codependency is negative, but I do think that all codependency is unnecessary. I think that all codependency is a symptom or byproduct of something negative. I don't know about that second statement, but definitely 100% unnecessary in my opinion. I would 100% of the time take something or take a relationship that was not codependent over one that was every day of the week in every possibly conceived situation, at least in my mind. And again, I'm not a doctor or a therapist or anything like that, and I definitely don't know everything, right? So, but I challenge if anyone has input on this, hit me in the comments. Let me know if you think all codependency is negative. Okay, we've been talking a lot about boundaries lately. And this is a tool that we're going to use to fix our codependency, to recover from codependency. All relationships deserve and require boundaries, all healthy relationships. Um, and again, forging that relationship with yourself, learning to trust yourself is going to be the biggest factor here, right? So if we're talking about boundaries, the self boundaries are probably the first place to start. All right, well, I need to have some self-discipline. I'm not going to give in when this person uses leaving or staying to manipulate me. I'm not going to allow them to have that power over me, right? This isn't something that I need. And I definitely don't like how it makes me feel when they throw this weight around, right? It's not fair to me. And quite frankly, it's not very nice. So I'm going to have some discipline with myself. Like, this is what I'm going to do if this comes up, or whatever. You can leave. That's fine. You can leave or stay. I care not. There's ways that we can go about this. Many, many ways we can go about this. What's going on, CAG? Good to see you. Hill hath no fury. Would you consider all parent-child relationships codependent? I think that is a unique case. I think that a parent's job is to make their children ready for the world, right? So a child is inherently dependent. I don't think codependent. I think a child is dependent upon their parents. And codependency largely arises from the failure to do so. That's my 2 cents on that. Hill hath no fury, by the way, asked that question. For the replay crew, gotta show love to the replay crew. They keep the boat afloat. Jimena says, codependency is a result of an unbalanced relationship where there is most of the time abuse or negative conducts. Well said. It is not the same thing to rely on your partner. To rely on your partner for everything, to get things from your partner that you should be providing for yourself, in a lot of ways is very codependent. What's going on, body illusion? And again, this is a very complex issue. It's not going to be the same in every sitch, right? What this comes down to is being addicted to people and relationships. Like, I need this relationship or I'm not going to be okay. I'm getting my happiness from this person. I'm getting my security from this person. I don't trust my own perceptions. I don't trust my own senses and feelings. So I'm going to seek validation from someone else, which is the essence of codependence. The hallmark, one might say. I've gone the other way in my life. I am so self-sufficient now that my partner gets mad because I'm too independent and never leave myself reliant on him and vulnerable. Interesting. Very curious. I tend to find that extremes are easier than proper balance. And that's how I justify my swings back and forth. Codependency is per se an unhealthy way to relate to the other person. It's not necessarily a couple problem, or can happen in friendship and parents. Yeah, it can happen. This can apply all over your life. It can apply to family. It can apply to just simply friends. So we're going to get in tune with our own emotions, our own feelings. And by doing that, we're going to listen to our bodies. We need to separate our feelings from others. A lot of codependents, or people that are codependent, are empaths. They can sense other people's feelings. And that might be, especially if you have that and you're not trusting yourself, someone might be, your friend or your partner might be stressed out. They might be having a bad day, and you might immediately, just instantly, as soon as you notice that, assume that they're mad at you or that something's wrong. And nothing has happened yet, right? This is something that I have experienced personally a lot, actually. And through building self-worth and learning to trust myself, forging a relationship with myself, I was able to get through that. And this is still something that spirals back. This is still a lesson that I have to learn and deal with again and again. But I'm getting a lot more adept at it. I see it coming a long ways off. And before it's causing problems, I handle it these days, most of the time. I'm not perfect. What's going on in your body? Learn to distinguish from your emotions from others. Tamber June, hey there, Captain. Got a lot of physical health problems, and we've had to learn how to be ourselves and have our own goals and feelings and have other things in our lives that are separate. Absolutely. Got a lot of physical health problems. Well, I hope you get better soon, Tamber. I'm sorry to hear about your physical health problems. Get some ones up for Tamber. Tamber June and her loved ones. The Trips Captain, ahoy. What's going on? My late husband, says Lori Hart, told me that he married me because I didn't need to be with him, but that I wanted to. I thought he was wrong, but he wasn't. Wow, that is so heartfelt and tender. Thanks for sharing that, Lori. Tamber says, before I've had problems because I needed so much help, but now it's easier to find a middle ground. Absolutely. And again, balance, I think, is one of the eternal struggles. It's definitely something that I'm always reaching for. But, it's kind of like perfection. It's never going to be. Well, I'm in the process of learning and freshening up my Spanish, Jimena. Maybe one day we can converse en español. Thanks for saying so, Tamber. We love you. B. Hendricks, what's going on? I see you. Dan Sheehan, good afternoon, upstate New York. Let's go. Tuning in from all over. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Boundaries, separating feelings, blah, blah, blah. It's not blah, blah, but emotions and feelings have physical effects on the body. That's why we're going to listen to our bodies, right? If I'm not dealing with or if I'm not trusting my own emotions, if I'm not processing them properly, doing what should be done with them, it's going to have physical effects on my body. I'm going to be able to feel it. When I'm having an off day, there's always a reason. I either didn't get enough sleep or I didn't eat the proper nutrition. I didn't get any exercise, or there's some stuff that I probably should have journaled about. There's something happened that's affecting me emotionally, physically, mentally, that I haven't assessed yet, that I haven't given the time of day properly. And that is literally going to throw my whole ecosystem, for lack of a better word, out of whack. And it's up to me. I'm getting really good at it nowadays. I can tell, like, oh, something feels off. I wonder what it is. And I'll go hit the journal, start writing stuff down. And, sure enough, something comes up. Oh, yeah, that's right. This has really been bothering me. And I just haven't slowed down enough to assess it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It comes back to presence of mind as well. When you're feeling some type of way, notice, have the presence of mind to like, well, hold on a second. I'm not really feeling too hot right now. Why does that look like that? It doesn't matter. I used to prefer relationships where my girl was more of a sidekick than a partner. It got old. Probably was a youthful lack of maturity on my part, says the Trips Captain. I think you're probably onto something there. That definitely shows growth and maturity just from that information that you shared. Rick Spicer, what's going on? Big time supporter of the boat. Good to see you. Layla asks, what would you do differently in a relationship so you wouldn't be as codependent as your last relationship? Interesting. Well, I'm already enacting some things. This will be really fun to answer. Part of the whole reason I moved out here was to do some things right for myself, with myself. One of the biggest repeat issues with my past few relationships has been codependency, not having something to call my own, not having my own thing or something I'm proud of. Obviously there's the fire dancing, right? And then I was an electrician for a lot of that time. So there were anchors, but I really got a lot of my value from my significant other at the time. And I put value on us together, like highly, like above a lot of things that it didn't belong above. Mainly being like myself, my trajectory, like my path, my career kind of stuff, what I'm doing with my life. All of these things second to the health of my relationship. And I shouldn't say the health is probably not the right way to say that, because these weren't very healthy relationships, but being with this person was more important than a bunch of stuff it shouldn't have been. So, I'm building my own, I'm forging a relationship with myself. And I think that's probably the main thing. What I would do differently is I'm not going to engage in a relationship, like a serious relationship that I'm trying to, make something of, forge a lasting bond with someone, until I have that for myself, with myself, until I have, stuff that I can be proud of, right? I'm paying my own bills. I have been for a while. I didn't even have a bank account for many years. I don't know. Yeah, having my own ground to stand on is a big deal. And honestly, I've free fallen through a lot of relationships, and by that I mean holding nothing sacred, right? Anything that I came into this relationship with is disposable because now I have you. It's a very unhealthy way to think. So for me personally, um, having my own stuff, not necessarily people like things, but having my own stuff to be proud of, my own works, my own things that I care about, that is completely unrelated and separate from whoever my significant other is, right? Something to value higher than us together. Because it's hard, man. I'm a hopeless romantic. I fall in both feet first, head first, whatever. It's definitely one of the greatest desires of my heart, is to find someone to spend life with. You know what I mean? To share life with. So I have to keep that in perspective. Marriage is like nuclear warfare, says Dan Sheehan. There are no winners, only survivors. I don't have any off the top of my head, but there is a bunch of sayings that I think I find quite funny and somewhat accurate, involving marriage and nuclear warfare and running for the hills and better off without and all kinds of stuff. But I don't have any on the top of my head. So Shannon Smith says, so need to hear about this. Well, thanks for saying that. Sometimes I wonder, I know this isn't our normal time, so the numbers are probably a little off, but I'm glad that there's someone out there that needs to hear this. CAG says, what really woke me up about codependent behavior is I realized who was I? Who was I to think I knew what was best for anyone else? I had to put my ego in check. That's darn right. I tell you what. A lot of people, I hear a lot of people say that the ego is useless and they want to kill their ego and put their ego down. And, I think the ego is absolutely necessary. We just let it run wild. We got to keep that sucker in check. But who else is going to tell you when to stand up and fight? Who else is going to tell you when to, quite frankly, mate, have sex, right? The ego is in charge of some things that are, I think, pretty important. Pretty important decision-making subjects, but we let it do a lot of things. We let it like stand up, and it doesn't want to be hurt. I think it's good to keep in check. Some humility is medicine for the ego. Depending on relationships, I ended up homeless every time, says Body Illusion. Now, no one pays my bills, broke or not. I have always had a roof. Now, when it comes to the heart, I need reassurance constantly. Interesting. When you say when it comes to the heart, you mean that you don't trust your own emotions? Is that what we're talking about? I need reassurance. So you need validation from others that what you're experiencing is proper. It sounds like you may have dealt with some gaslighting or something in the past that has taught you not to trust yourself and what you're experiencing. I think we're onto something. Absolutely, Layla. It's my pleasure to be vulnerable and honest. And in fact, I've said this before. I try to be authentic with everything I do. If I'm doing something that doesn't feel authentic, I can't do it. Um, in fact, this is a strange example, but it's on the top of my head. When I in relationships, forging new relationships with people, when meeting people romantically, even especially, I don't like if asking this person out isn't organic in this moment, if it doesn't feel right now, I'm just not going to do it. Like I just won't. Everything about it has to be organic for me, or I won't take action. And that's not to say that I'm inactive, but I don't want to say a slave to authenticity, but like doing things organically and having them come about in a not planned manner is very important to me on like a core level. So I'm always trying to be honest, for sure. If I'm not honest, my whole everything feels off, if that makes sense. Which is interesting. I think one might call me a goody goody, which is also very strange when contrasted with my colorful past. Very strange. Good people do bad things, y'all. Good people do bad things sometimes. Off track, says Shelly Kelly. I downloaded the Journal Companion. Very excited to use it tonight. Sweet deal. Let me know how that goes. Any feedback you all have is welcome. Hit me in the comments, email me at sober@myyahoo.com, whatever floats your boat. I would like to start a discussion about these things. For next year, I'm going to spruce that sucker up. We're going to get through some compatibility stuff. We're going to come back with a better, bigger, badder version every year. So if there's anything you think would make it better, any suggestions, any trouble that you ran into, anything like that, please let me know so that 2025 version can have that included. There's probably something that I've missed, kind of thing. I promise, Shannon, I will always be myself. I don't know who else to be. I wish I had some of those glasses with like the nose and the mustache. Definitely not Spanx Calhoun. There will come a time, says B. Hendricks, where the only individual who's getting you out of this mess is you. I tell you what, wise words. I feel like we should pin this sucker to the bulletin board. This is a good one. Thank you for that, B. B? Thanks, B. Where does one even meet someone these days? This is a good question. I try not to meet women at bars because I don't really like to be in bars. But I will say my cousin's friends are all into karaoke and stuff. So I did meet a girl at karaoke. But I guess I also met a girl at like a pool party. So social events, what are you into? Do you have extracurriculars? You know what I mean? So I like to go dancing. I like to do the Burning Man thing, right? And the local. So I guess camping, we can throw camping in there. Lucy was really into ultimate frisbee. She ended up joining a team and made some friends. She was also really into fitness, and she found a group that would meet at the Capitol and run around the city and do workouts and stuff. So I mean, Facebook's probably a good asset, but also a lot of the stuff I do is word of mouth, right? Like I found the burner group on Facebook because I knew those were people I was going to relate with, and that was probably going to be my doorway into performance, fire, and the community of that sort out here, right? So I found that group and immediately said something. After a little while, they got back to me on a flow jam, which ends up being today. I'm going to go to a flow jam today, and in about 11 or 12 days from now, we're going to do a little performance, hopefully get some footage. So identify what you're into and find other people that are also into it, right? There have been times where I'll meet people at like a game store because we're playing Magic at the Magic tournament, Magic the Gathering, right? A lot of people use the internet like Tinder or Grindr, but I don't. I think that there's a lot of, how we complain about like the bureaucratic BS in politics, in work and corporate work, and all this stuff. There's kind of like some mess you have to get through with these apps. because most people aren't on these apps looking for long-term relationships. They're looking for a hookup, right? So there's this whole like subtext and like mind games that are being played that I'm not interested in. So, and I'm not even really into just hooking up. That's something that, everybody likes to have sex, right? It's my brain telling me, hey, this feels good, right? But that's not. I don't seek that out. What I seek out is a wholesome relationship, whether or not it's romantic. I really am not looking for surface level friends at all, ever. So if there's like a natural happening that happens, if I'm like out doing my thing and I meet someone and it becomes apparent that, hey, we could probably just do a little hookup, she's into me, this is great. We're both beautiful. Let's go. Like I'm into it, right? I'm okay with that, but I'm not actively seeking that kind of relationship out. I'm not actively on Tinder swiping, but I am open to the idea of meeting someone authentically. I've met girls at the grocery store, Shannon Smith. Not the most exciting place to meet somebody, but it's interesting. The more you become, like, the more you cultivate your presence of mind, the more you cultivate your relationship with yourself, the more you're going to be able to identify people, especially as an empath, people that you vibe with. I can smell them a mile away. As soon as I step into a room, I'm like, who are you? If they're there, if they exist in that place, right? But I've gotten very, very good. I don't really even need to exchange words sometimes. Sometimes I just know. It's interesting. All of these skills that we talk about, boundaries, presence of mind, et cetera, they're not only useful for recovery, but they're going to level up your life infinitely, multiplicatively. Tommy Stiggs, what's going on, brother? Checking in from North Jersey. Much appreciated, man. Yeah, just getting a little random afternoon show in, talking about codependency. Had a few hookups back in the day, also talking about hookups now, randomly. In college, they're nice to think about when my wife is talking to me. Well, Dan, I wonder. Doesn't sound like a very healthy marriage, my friend. You smell the vibes, B? Me too, dude. Me too. Or is that the pizza? I wonder if we got through all this stuff. Let's see. Support is the next resource I was going to talk about. There are 12-step groups for codependency. Codependence Anonymous, CODA, you can go to. You could even go to Al-Anon, and I'm sure that there's a lot of overlap between codependency and friends and family of addicts and alcoholics. I'm sure that there's a lot of overlap there. But honestly, codependency is such a common thing. I think that you can find someone to commiserate with and to like share and bounce ideas off of and grow and fail together with everywhere. Anywhere that you have friends, anywhere that you have people gathering, I would be willing to bet there's some codependency going on. So you can really forge these bonds just about anywhere. This is one of those very widespread common things that happens that honestly I don't think gets the time of day that it deserves. If you haven't already, go over and check out Tommy Stiggs Social Club. It's awesome. Just a bunch of folks hanging out kind of like we do. Very, very similar. And we like Tommy Stiggs quite a bit. Go over there, check him out, give him a like, a subscribe, and tell him we sent you. How's your day going, by the way, Tommy? How you been? We haven't chatted in a little while. You might be right. It's only been 35 years, says Dan. Well, I'm glad you can find ways to be happy, dude. I don't wish that upon anybody. But again, this is a complicated thing. It's not so simple as to just walk away, right? Is it worth walking away even? Is it worth salvaging? There's a lot of questions that are relevant that come up in this context with this particular issue. So I don't, and again, if you're new to the channel, we don't judge here. We're not an anti-drug channel. We're an anti-addiction channel. We talk about everything from overeating to gambling to, you name it. We're about living a better life here. We're about harm reduction. So whatever's going on, whatever you're going through, there's someone here that can relate, and we want better for you. So Thank you to everyone that's new, that's tuning in and coming out of the lurkers den to chat with us. We appreciate it. We don't bite much. Just grinding out life day by day. I tell you what, I'm trying to do it with a smile too, Absolutely. My pleasure, Tommy. Yeah, I try not to be so serious. It's hard, especially like I care so much about the subjects and what we do here. It's thank you for saying this. I definitely could be. I could have more fun on here. Not that I'm not having fun, but I could show that I'm having fun. We could laugh a little more. I definitely don't always do that. Hey, Sandy, what's going on? Good to see you. Shannon says, I tried so hard to save my heroin addicted sister. Devastating. It's never a pretty thing. I tell you what, I thank God that my little sister is doing well with these kinds of things, that she doesn't have these problems. She got to learn from her mom, her dad, and myself as great examples of what not to do. Self-trust, blah, 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 trusting one's own perceptions are key. We pretty much got through all of this information that I had prepared. Now, again, this is a complicated and deep issue. We could talk about it ad nauseum, but that's what I have for you today. Tommy Stiggs asks, do you feel that YouTube helps you as much as you help others in the chat? I think that's more my dad's thing. It definitely helps me, and maybe I just don't realize how much it's helping me yet, but I definitely don't feel like I get out as much as I give. And I don't mean to say that I'm putting in so much and it's draining me. I just think that what I do is not necessarily what I'm getting out. But again, I could do more, right? So maybe, I don't know. That's a great question. My dad would say yes. I'm not so certain personally for me. And maybe I'm using it wrong. I'm also not like very 100% comfortable yet. I'm still kind of finding my groove. I'm still kind of figuring out exactly what my wingspan is. So over some time, I really hope to be able to answer that question, yes. Definite resounding no right now, though. I thought about it a little extra. Yeah, definitely a resounding no right now. My family just adopted a 140-pound Newfoundland. He poops like a dinosaur. We can talk about that. Well, thanks for sharing, Dan. I definitely look forward to getting a big dog, but I don't look forward to cleaning up his dumps or her dumps. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a girl pup. Millie says I should watch my first show to this one and see how far I've come. Maybe I will. That is not a bad idea at all. And they say that your friends notice the change in you before you do. The ones closest to you, the ones that see you all the time. So honestly, y'all probably are seeing aspects of me that I haven't even fully realized yet. It's more than likely. Absolutely, man. I'm definitely not going to quit for anything, man. I love doing this. I feel like it's what my life has been missing. So maybe it should be the answer should be yes. Maybe I'm taking some things for granted, but I've always wanted to do something like this. So and now I literally am. So I think that maybe I should give myself some credit. Give YouTube some credit. I'm a hater at heart. I try to be a lover, but my initial reaction is like every time, every single time. I have to like check myself. Like, Michael, be nice, be nice. I'm like, in my heart, I'm just a little dog protecting my backyard. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. I will have a coffee on you. I gonna finish this one right here, but can I just admit to everyone that coffee is one of my greatest loves of all time. I don't think I would be the same without a little coffee. I discovered a local coffee market or something like that yesterday. I haven't checked it out yet, but I walked past it. And I'm not sure if it's what I think it is, but if it's what I think it is, they have a bunch of fresh coffee beans from all over the place. which is something I'm into. When I go somewhere on a trip, on a vacation, I like to find a local micro roaster or something and get some local coffee beans, or I don't know, one of these market joints that imports coffee or whatever. I try to get some unique coffee from the places. I'm really quite into that. And right now, all I've got is this criminal coffee. And I don't say that like all that I've got. I love the criminal coffee. But I think I'm going to go down there and check out what they've got. Pretty stoked to get some extra flavors, you know. And I don't think that like flavored coffee is not, that's not what I'm talking about. But different beans from different places, different roasts are all very unique, and I love tasting them. I drink it all black, so I've had quite a bit of coffee today, if you guys can't tell. I now that I have a grinder, I do whole bean if I can, but you know, if it's ground up already, that's cool too. It's fresher if you grind the beans, so it's a better product. Um, I tried to do that as much as I can. I didn't have a grinder for the longest time, but now I do. Spanx, your confidence has been deflated lately. Don't let others tell you the direction you want to go. Your beautiful soul and this family see it every day. I promise. Absolutely. I don't know. That's not something that I've noticed. Um, but I mean, I'll work on it. I will, Shannon, I promise. And on that note, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a difference. I think I'm going to get out of here. I have a bunch of stuff I want to do today. I have some practice to get in before my flow jam, and I found out today how to sponsor our own products on videos. I was watching a video, and this person was talking about whatever they were talking about, and then they had something that they created that's for sale that like was relevant to the topic, and then just like a little image of it like popped up right here and then faded away like you see like in a Billy Mays commercial. So I'm gonna see if we can get the journal companion to like pop up and be like woohoo and then go away. And there's some other stuff I want to do as well: comments, emails, etc., etc. Thanks for saying that, Dan. You seem like a nice kid. Keep fighting the good fight. All will work out in time. I try to just let go and trust. Because really, at the end of the day, there's nothing for me to complain about. My bills are paid. I have safety, security. I have food in the fridge. I'm doing what I want to do. Right. I'm doing good. I'm putting good out into the world. I'm getting to dance. When I feel like it. Really, there's nothing to complain about. So I'm going to keep doing this thing. I'm going to see how far I can push it too. Because again, I'm doing a lot, but there's a lot more that I could be doing. I have a bunch of ideas. What if I just applied myself all day? Once, just one time. I bet you it would be crazy. I'm not saying I'm going to do a 24-hour live stream. I'm just saying, what if I like actually observed work hours for myself? What if I spent 8 hours straight doing lifeboat stuff? That would be insane. I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but I know that I'm capable of more. So I'm going to keep running it up. We're gonna ride this thing till the wheels fall off, and when they do, we'll be afloat. We'll be a real boat without wheels. So that didn't really make sense, but it's okay. I appreciate every one of y'all. Have a great day. The Admiral will be back later on this evening. There also may be a Colts and Crims today, so I'm not entirely sure what time we'll be doing the evening lifeboat, but most likely after Colts and Crims if they're the Colts and Crims. Much love, everyone.